In the words of Owen Wilson, wow. Hey everyone, my name is Jedi Mike Seven here. You call me Mike, and I'm back with another review of Loki episode 5. I gotta say this was a really good episode. Today, right now it's like 5:20 in the morning right now, and making sure, like I said again, unedited and everything. After last week's episode, I was left with really um high expectations of what this episode was going to be today. And I gotta say, it did deliver. It was not I didn't say end on a very um chasm like event like the last episode did. However, there's a lot that happened this episode. I think preparing up for the finale, and really there's some moments here that have very good emotional scenes. But let's just get on with the review, and also I'm gonna breaking out certain Easter eggs too that I found out through analyzing this episode. All right, so let's get to it. All right. So the episode starts out back where we left off, where Loki's finding wakes up and finds the other Loki variants. Now, in this place, we later find out, it's called the Void. It's basically the place outside the sacred timeline where everything that gets pruned basically gets dropped off like trash, basically to a dump into the where there's no branch that can be broken off into this different timeline, right? Um, and this is where Loki meets a different, variants. He meets classical Loki, he meets Kid Loki, boastful Loki with hammer, and also alligator Loki, which is like a running gag throughout this episode, which I thought was very funny. But as we go back to it, beginning, we see Ravonna and Sylvie. Basically, Sylvie has Ramona captured, and she's basically trying to get her for information about who created TVA, and she doesn't even know. And she's trying to stall, saying, "Hey, I can help you find. I don't want to know who the TVA agents are too." Which basically she was lying the whole time. So I think that was bound to happen anyway. But as we go on through the beginning more through the episode, as they're back into the void with the other Loki variants and our version of Loki, he's walking down this path right here, and you see some broken down debris on this out in the background. But one thing you do see is a ship that's like down on the pavement here, and it looks a lot like Kang's time ship that he uses in the comics. Kang the Conqueror, I know, is a villain who's going to be coming up in Marvel, Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. He's also a time traveling villain, and he's going to be played by Jonathan Majors. And this has been kept constantly referred to if he created TVA or not. We still don't know. Also, he's connected with the character Ravonna. They actually have a romantic relationship in the comics. But yeah, but art that debris, I thought that looked a lot like a almost like a flying saucer, which basically looked like the ship that you see here, which looked like the Kang's time ship from the comics. So I thought that was very interesting. So as we get more into the episode, you see understand the character's backstory more of the Loki variants. Like for example, Kid Loki, as I mentioned, he was basically one Loki that I was very excited to see because I know, as I mentioned, that Marvel's been setting seeds for Young Avengers, and he is a predominant member. And but this Loki variant, one thing that his Nexus event that he caused was that he killed Thor, which has made him the king of this void area where the Lokis basically are following him. So this kid is basically not to be messed with, and I thought that was very interesting. Um, but also you follow the other main variant, which is classical Loki, which is I thought that was his history that he's very well. Basically, what you find that he basically followed the same history that almost Loki did, except that at the ship he was right before he was killed by Thanos. Right here, he basically create a casting or illusion projection onto him, and he basically let off an escape. Which that was one of the theories that we thought we saw for Infinity War, that thought everyone thought that Loki wasn't dead, but this basically confirmed that theory, but not with our version, but with the variant version of Loki, which I thought that was very good. But basically, he went off to a distant planet, and he is going on, and uh, basically he just lived out his days, basically being an outcast. So I thought that was just very looking at his history was very good, and that they did very well, especially with the over top. costume. I thought they just did a very good job with this variant of Loki. Now, one other Easter egg that you did notice, which I was very happy to see, as you mentioned, we have boastful Loki, which is not really much to him, his character. Alligator Loki is just there around just for comedic relief. But what you find out is that when you're going down into their lair or to their quote unquote kingdom that these Loki variants are living in the void, what you find out is that when you're scrolling down, you see the inside the dirt, you see a bunch of different, artifacts and everything like that. But then also you see Thor's hammer, and then you see a capsule, and then you see a small little frog reaching, trying to grab the hammer, and basically confirms one of the fan favorites people were seeing, which was Frog Thor in the comics. I thought that was very cool. I mean, it was very brief. You didn't catch it, but I thought it was very funny. He was in a little glass jar, but he was trying to reach for the hammer, which obviously was too big for him to carry. But I thought that was very funny. They had at least they put that in there, which which we're just waiting to see that. That they were ever going to do that in the movies or in the Disney Plus shows, and they did. So I'm really happy they did that. So moving on, you see in this layer that Loki, these versions of Loki's have, our version of Loki is just trying to find out, more about their history and everything. But then, he's saying, okay, you need to go back to the TVA to get Sylvie so they can try to take down timekeepers and stuff, take down the TVA. And all of them are laughing, not taking him seriously. Like, dude, there's no way for you to get out of there because there's a big creature called Alien, I think. Which is like this big cosmic creature that basically just devours anything in the void. Basically, he just said that they weren't going to help him, so she's getting ready to leave. And then you find something very interesting that when he leaves, he meets more Loki variants, and he meets another version that looks exactly like him, which is President Loki. Now, I thought that this Loki that we saw in the trailers, and anything, I thought that was our version of Loki, but apparently not. It's a different version of Loki, President Loki, different from the one that we're currently following. So I thought, okay, I was like, really? But yeah, that was very cool. And you see other versions of Loki too. And I guess they have like a gang that they try to go and control that stuff in the void. And then there's just this quick funny scene as they get in, and this shot that you see here, they're basically overruling the kid Loki, which the boastful Loki turned against him, which is the whole thing about Loki, that he always stabs people in the back, he doesn't trust people, he always turns on them, and basically because they're all Lokis, they're all turning on each other simultaneously. So one Loki turns on each other while the other one follows and everything. I thought that was just funny. And the alligator Loki came in and bit off this version of Loki's hand off. It was just funny, just kind of weird, but yeah, I just thought it was funny that everyone kept turning on each other. And it was just a big fight that happened, but they eventually move on, and we found out, that as we're moving forward, that they're trying to go and trying to see what they can do to get out of this void, so they can try to take down TVA. And now this goes back into Ravonna. Now I will say this, me personally, this woman is pissing me off. I just waiting for her, either she can get killed off, whatever. But she's really annoying. And I think it's a testament to the actress. She's playing the villain or knowing villain very well, because she's also following the leader or wherever supposedly TVA, also unwillingly either, because she going to talking to Hunter B-15, who is now captured, and basically saying, she's trying to take down the TVA. That's what this Loki variant Sylvie's trying to do. But Ravonna, on the other hand, she doesn't even know who the timekeepers even are either. So she doesn't even know. And she's asking Miss Minutes here about, hey, give me all the files about the beginning of time, which we thought beginning that Loki did previous episodes ago, but she found those files were restricted. So how is she, if she's supposed to be the leader of the TVA, it also doesn't know who she's following? I thought that's very weird. I'm just like, who is it? Is it Kang? Is it Kang? I thought maybe it's more personal. The reason why she's protecting the timekeeper or the person who created TVA, is because it's the person she's in love with, in the comics, Kang. But I guess we'll find out eventually. Now, one thing also, another Easter egg you find out, I think probably this was revealed earlier in the beginning of the season, with the character Miss Minutes, plays by Tara Strong, who voices Timmy Turner and other characters. She's also basically, the inspiration of her character is that she's based off the Mr. DNA or Dr. DNA from Jurassic Park. So I thought that was very interesting that they pointed out there. I think it was reading, doing some research and listening to certain interviews from the showrunners, and I thought that was very cool. But then we see that as we get back up here, that Loki, uh, well, Mobius and Sylvie basically are back in the void. Mobius has survives and everything, and we find out basically that now Mobius drives into a car and picks up Sylvie, while Sylvia actually enchants the Alioth, the creature, and actually sees some of his memories and trying to think, oh, that's the pathway of us getting out of here. That we have to go through him, and then we eventually reconnect and they find Loki and everyone meeting up again with each other. Now, one thing I say, it was good to see. It was good to see Mobius come back and everything, and having Sylvia and them kind of work together for a little brief bit. But yeah, but driving into the scene here, they then reconnect with other variants, Loki, and thinking that the Nexus event that started the branch before an episode, beginning of episode 4, was, I guess, because they're beginning of their relationship with each other, which causes a Nexus event, right? And as their relationship brews more, there was just a few scenes of them just sitting down, just talking, like again, going to one of the strong points of Marvel right now, which is what they're doing, is that instead of grand uh, spectacles of of capes flying, action, laser beams, and everything like that, they're just actually the driving narrative of the story is actually just people just talking, and they did it. Did thought Sophie DiMartino and Tom Hiddleston did a very good job with this scene, and it was almost like an agonizing scene when you're watching those stereotypical rom coms. You're just waiting, like, just kiss her already, just kiss her, and yeah, as they were getting cold, had the blanket over each other and stuff. But there was a fine line that she said here that she said, she said the same thing. I don't know how to do this. Their relationship, or whether trying to be friends, whether it's hinting that it's romantic or not. I think eventually we're gonna get that payoff in the finale next week. Um, but one thing she did say was, how do I know you're not going to betray me? Because she is a Loki, and as all the Lokis before, they betray each other. And she basically said, and Loki responded, I basically betrayed everyone, my father, my brother, and everyone, and everything like that. Um, and now he's thinking that, and once they eventually, if they beat the TVA, they can have a timeline that he can actually rule and be king, and that actually they can be together if they want to. So I think it's also just kind of that irony that maybe they're never meant to be together because they're a Loki, so they're gonna always turn on each other. Which I just think that's kind of just kind of the irony of that is kind of like very poetic to me, and I thought that they did a very good job, conveying that emotion to the screen. In that brief long, it was kind of a long scene, kind of dragged on a little bit, but it was felt. But then another moment was just the moment where they decided that they're gonna get the alien and leave, and they got the time pad, and Mobius was gonna go back to TVA, and then they asked him, "What are you gonna do?" "I'm gonna burn it to the ground." And there's basically at the moment where Loki and Mobius saying goodbye, and Mobius getting ready to shake his hand, and then Loki at that moment actually gave him a hug, and saying, goodbye, my friend. Which basically you realize that Loki never had a friend, which goes back to this scene with her Sophie DiMartino saying that I never had a friend either. I was always alone. So it's just the whole thing that this is changing against their character. That just like the Mobius had the conversation with the other variants, is saying that there's always time for you to change who you are. At the, like going back to the last uh, episode where when he pulled Loki out of that time loop with Lady Sif, he basically said, you can be whoever you want to be, even someone good. So I think that's just kind of the running theme seeing going into this episode. I think that the archetype of Loki, which we thought as the villain, is now being changed. And I think that's being that I think they're doing a very good job, at least with the last 5 episodes, and hopefully going into the sixth one. Now, and eventually they get to a point where they are able to get the Alioth, and they're trying to do the enchantment, which I think it was Mokomami who said that they're probably going to use that later, which they did, because both of them do is trying to enchant them at the same time, holding each other's hands. But as they're trying to distract the Alioth to get it, that's when the classic Loki came in and created this huge enchantment of Asgard or whatever, which is all just a illusion projection and everything. And Loki was surprised, like, how did he do that? And he's, I guess, Sylvie said, I guess we have more power than we realize, which I think there's more to be seen eventually when we see more powers of Loki. Just as we saw him in I think it was episode 3, when the debris that fell on him and he used his magic just to levitate it away from him. And we have never seen that before. So I think his powers is going to be limitless. just like Wanda, like Scarlet Witch. I think there's more abilities that we're able to see. So they able to enchantment the alien, and then Wanda, or not Wanda, the classic Loki sacrificed himself and going out in a blaze of glory with glorious purpose. And I thought that was just a good payoff to his character, even though it was very brief. I felt it was very satisfying. Um, Knowing that he lived a long life and everything, and sacrificed himself, be a hero, even though he basically is technically saving himself, which goes to the theme of Loki, which I thought was very good. Um, but then they actually find it worked. They enchanted the alien, and they found this place where they're thinking this is the beginning of time, or where they can find the origin of the TVA. And then this is where the episode ends off. And which I could say was another cliffhanger, but it was kind of satisfying. Which is a lot of emotion was in this episode, but it wasn't. I didn't feel it was a letdown. Some people might think it was, but I think it just like you give us a slow burn before you give us a big payoff, like you did with episode 3. It was kind of a slow burn just to get to know Sylvie and her character, and then pay off in episode 4 with this big grand screen, of the Loki variants and everything like that, them getting pruned. And then this one, we're still learning more information. Lots of happened this episode, but still slightly a slow burn to give us a big payoff, hopefully in the finale. So yeah, I'm very looking forward to next week's episode, the finale. But yeah, I'm gonna give this episode 7.5 out of 10. This was really good. I thought, like I said, I think this whole season, as well, is by far the one of the best out of the Disney Plus shows that they have done out of Falcon Winter Soldier and WandaVision. I thought just the screenwriter they're doing is just doing a fantastic job. And they're also signed to do Doctor Strange and Multiverse of Madness. I'm saying this is only an ounce of story, the type of storytelling you're going to do in a 6 hour long um, show. Then I don't know what you're going to do in a 2.5 hour long Marvel movie with a big grim with Doctor Strange and Multiverse of Madness. So I cannot wait. And this is also just a good appetizer for getting ready to see Black Widow, which comes out this Friday. So I am very excited to see Marvel just hitting in all cylinders this week and everything. And again, I'm just the conclusion of end of my video. If any other Easter eggs that I've probably missed, please I probably missed some. Please go in the comment section and let me know what you think. Let me know what you thought about this episode and what you probably look forward to in the finale. Yeah, once again, my name is Jedi Mike 7. You can follow me on Instagram or YouTube at Jedi Mike 7 right here. And thank you guys for watching the rest of the video. Until next time, my name is Jedi Mike 7. Until next time, bye bye.